All right, guys, we're obviously going to be talking about how to make love to the camera. And by the way, I'm Gigi Ashworth of the blog GiGi Eats Celebrities. That being said, if you guys are here for, making love in a different way, well, that's not what we're talking about, so I'll specify in a second. But before I get into making love to the camera, I want to tell you guys a little bit about myself, just in case you have no idea who I am and you're like, why does this girl have any credibility whatsoever? So I actually went to broadcast journalism school back in the University of Colorado. I think I graduated. Oh, we got it. We got the University of Colorado over here. What? So I graduated back in 2010, I believe. So I have a broadcast journalism degree, and then I moved out to Los Angeles immediately afterward. That was my ultimate goal. I wanted to be an entertainment reporter. I was so excited. Oh, celebrities, they're awesome. Whoa. No, actually, they're not. So I actually got a job at E! Entertainment. I was not only a casting director's assistant, I was also a personal assistant to one of the hosts on E! News, and then I also worked at the Watch with Kristen section on E! Online. So I got to go to a bunch of different events, interview celebrities, and that sort of thing. And when I was there, I was working 9 to 5 jobs, or 9 to 5 job, excuse me, and all I wanted to do was get in with the entertainment host, because that's ultimately what I wanted to do. So I would talk to the casting directors over at E! And they would always tell me, well, we're not going to hire from within this company because you don't have any outside experience. So I was like, oh, okay, great. Well, then why am I working here? So everybody's, advice to me was to start my own platform. Get on the internet so when people Google your name, your website, your videos, your social media pops up so they know who you are. So that's why I started GiGi Eats Celebrities, because I was like, okay, I want people to know who I am because I ultimately want to do this entertainment reporting job. No longer want to do that because GiGi Eats Celebrities took over my life, and I realized I love the passion of food, healthy living, and that sort of thing far more than celebrities. I'm sorry, guys, celebrities are just not anything special, just saying. And I realized that, I could actually make GiGi Eats Celebrities a full-time job, which is what I currently do now, which is wonderful. But part of GiGi Eats Celebrities is videos. Every single blog post that I post is accompanied by a video, and I've done that since day one because, again, I wanted everyone to see my personality up front and center versus just writing. Because, back when I first started 6.5 years ago, yes, guys, I've been doing this 6.5 years, it's crazy. Video wasn't a huge thing, but now it's gaining steam, and in fact, it's almost just too much at this point. You're like, what's gonna come next? But video is very, very important because it really gets your personality out there, and it showcases who you are and all that sort of thing. So that's me in a nutshell. I mean, I also have my master's in nutrition as well because eventually I realized that I wanted to do, health, nutrition, living, and that sort of thing far more than entertainment reporting. And I found my niche because I have celiac, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, IBS, no large intestine, all of the problems. And I figured, you know what? Instead of like going, ho-hum, oh man, I have all the problems in the world, I should utilize them and sort of capitalize off them as well. So why not? And I also think really positively about that sort of thing anyway. I'm just like, you know what, it's not a death sentence. And this is kind of what I say on my blog, literally in every single post. I'm like, it's not a death sentence. I'm still living, and there's always something worse that could be wrong. Like, for instance, I could have no leg or something like that, and then I wouldn't be able to do fitness classes. So, you always gotta think positively. Anyways, let's see. Okay. Now that you guys know a teeny tiny bit about me, and if you guys want to know more, feel free to email me. I didn't put my email up there, which is really funny, but everything else is there if you want to contact me in some fashion. GiGiEatsCelebrities@gmail.com as well. Now, I would recommend that you guys go to that website. I made it specifically for BLOGFEST, where I basically tell you, excuse me, every single detail about how I feel as comfortable as possible on camera, and I think it would really help all of you. That being said, I'm going to go through a lot of it because I actually printed it out here. Oh, geez, sorry. I got really excited, and I'll actually get to that in a minute because I mentioned your composure on camera, and some people actually, when they talk into camera, they get really scared, and they're like, hi everybody, I'm talking about shampoo. And then for me, I'm like, hi everybody, I'm talking about shampoo. And obviously both avenues are not the best approach, so we'll get there in a second. Anyways, so the first thing I want to talk about with you guys, so you guys want to make videos. Now, you have to figure out what is your niche. If you guys don't have a niche, you have to really dive into yourself and you have to think, okay, what am I most passionate about? What do I talk about with my friends and family the most? What do I feel like other people outside of my friend's scope would want to listen to that I know a lot about? Because if you don't have a niche, you're going to get in front of the camera and you're going to go, I don't know what to talk about. Sure, and then you're going to stumble and you're not going to feel comfortable and you're never going to want to make videos. So niche, number one, most important thing ever. Now, if you guys have blogs and your blog has a niche, well, you guys are in luck because you already sort of have dived in and narrowed it down. And as I said earlier, my niche is, allergen-friendly food because I have a lot of food allergies, intolerances, and autoimmune diseases. And my little presentation is out of order. So that's cool. But again, this is actually something else I was going to tell you as well, but I'll get to that in a minute because, actually, no, it's not out of order. Okay, the next thing is once you find your niche, you should create an outline. And when I say outline, I mean create an outline of the subtopics you want to talk about within your niche. For instance, for me, food allergy recipes or whatever, I like to think outside of the box. So I'm like, ooh, how can I recreate a Krispy Kreme donut that's sugar-free and dairy-free and la-di-da-di-da? So that would be a subcategory for me. Now, if you're a fitness trainer, you're like, okay, I want to talk about plyometrics in this video today, and tomorrow I want to talk about how to do the perfect push-up, that sort of thing. So you got to really dive in deep and really just figure out what subcategories you can talk about for each video, and I would honestly just write a humongous list. That way, when you get finally in front of the camera, you're like, okay, great, I have a billion topics that I can make several videos about, so I don't have to worry about not having content for the next week. So from there, I highly recommend that you actually write out the outline. I'm talking like tap into your high school English class and write your thesis statement with like 3 bullet points underneath kind of thing, and then you got your conclusion, because the most important thing about video creation is having a point to your video. There's nothing worse than watching a video and you're like, why did I watch that? I just wasted like 2 minutes of my life. That was weird. So always have a point at the end of your video. And in my videos, for instance, at the end of the video, I have a lot of different content, but I'll just talk recipes specifically. I create the recipe, I eat it. Another thing about my recipes is I actually never make them before I film on camera because I don't like to waste ingredients. And I always just think they sound really good in my head, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they turn out like crap. And I tell everybody, I'm like, well, this was an epic fail, but it was really fun. I'm so glad you joined me on this journey. Maybe you guys have advice as to how this could be tastier. Comment below and let me know. Interaction, totally key when it comes to making videos. So yeah, and then after you create this outline, what you want to do is practice. Practice makes perfect, everybody. We know that, right? So what you want to do is just read this outline a billion times over. Just, get in front of a mirror and just read it out and just formulate sentences, because obviously with outlines you don't really write like sentences, you write bullet points. But you can formulate sentences that really, it's how you would talk to a friend and that sort of thing. And just talk to yourself in this mirror and just get really comfortable with the material that you're talking about. Thus, when you get in front of the camera, you feel a little bit more confident, cool, collected, and ready to get this video going. So also, when it comes to making videos, if you want to bring your outline with you in front of the camera, like, hello guys, oh, again, I keep hitting this thing. I have my outline right here. I brought it with me. I'm not afraid to read off of this piece of paper and then talk to the camera or talk to all of you guys, because guess what? We're all human beings. We're all real people. Like, you know, we're not perfect. I'm not gonna memorize 12 pages of a document. Granted, I mean, I can definitely tell you guys this without having it in my hand, but I wanna make sure that I cover every single topic. So for instance, if you're in front of the camera and you're like, oh no, oh no, oh no, I forgot this, I forgot that, I forgot that, you can simply look down on your outline and you can see what you're gonna talk about next, and then you can, you know, actually I had a couple hosting coaches teach me to lift it off the page. I was like, what the hell does that mean? So you just you read it and then you're like, okay, great. And then you bring it up and you just talk to your camera. Now, that would take a specific type of editing, which we'll get to in a minute. But if you don't want to edit your videos intensely or anything like that, again, I recommend the practicing, so you don't have to quote or you don't forget any sort of bullet points that you guys have. But if you do, you simply just go, oh, okay. You'll need your outline every single video to create it, and then you can you need to outline every single video, so it's not like you're talking to your piece of paper, you're talking to the camera. But again, feel free to have your outlines, because nobody's perfect and everybody wants to see real individuals when they watch YouTube videos. It's the bottom line. Nothing that I hate more is when I see someone super fake. I'm like, nope, next. I don't want to watch that video, no thank you. So there's that. And always smile, by the way. Always smile. But that's an entire subcategory I'm going to talk about, because smiling is so important when it comes to making videos. Otherwise, it looks like you hate what you're talking about. Trust me, I've done it before. So yeah, the next bullet point, because now you're like, okay, great. I really want to film a video. I feel confident with the stuff I want to talk about. I have my niche. I've got my outline. I'm good. Let's do this. And you're like, ah, crap. How do I film it? How do I do that? Like, you know, the most intimidating thing for me when I first started YouTube videos was the equipment. Okay, like for instance, if you guys want to look at my husband right there, he is filming on the most massive camera on the face of the planet, and that thing is the most intimidating thing I've ever seen in my life. However, when I first started YouTube videos, I actually used my laptop's little photo booth. I don't know if you guys knew this, but it has an option where you can film as opposed to taking photos of yourself. So instead of selfieing, you can selfie video. Whoa. So I used to actually use my laptop to film all of my content. I mean, it's not the greatest quality, but that being said, if you're first starting, it's a good platform to get you more comfortable to, you know, graduate towards video cameras and that sort of thing. Another great piece of equipment is your iPhone. I know, it's crazy, whoa. But the thing is you know, these cameras are not bad. And when I travel, because sometimes I go on, you know, vacations, whatever, and I want to film, I simply go like this, guys. Now, the thing with this, though, number one, when you are doing selfie videos, do not look at yourself, please. I hate the videos where people are literally looking at themselves. There's a little camera right here. Look at that. Otherwise, it's like you look like you're conceited or you're looking at something else, and it's just kind of awkward. However, so there's that. Now, I have to talk to you guys about audio, though, too. Because when I first started my YouTube videos, I simply used my laptop, had no audio, no nothing, and it sounded very tinny, very echoey, very annoying. However, for me, I was like, oh, that's good, no problem. I just made a video, so like, that's hard enough. But, not gonna lie, when I met my husband, he actually watched some of my videos, and he's like, oh God, your audio's terrible. And I'm like, oh, I never really noticed, because he's a videographer and a director and stuff like that, so he actually cares about that stuff. But then once I started taking note, I was like, audio makes a huge difference. If your audio is cracking, if it's echoey, if you can't really hear yourself, if you're not talking loud enough, which I don't have that problem, then you're not gonna have, you know, people watching for a very long time because they're gonna be like, ooh, that's annoying. I have to say, like, one of my #1 comments from way back in the day was, your voice is really annoying. But the thing is because the audio was so bad. And you know, yeah, I might have an annoying voice or whatever, but when it's echoey and tinny, oh God, don't listen to that. I even agreed. I was like, I agree, guys, my voice sucks. But that's something else, actually. If you ever really want to get into hosting and stuff, there are voice coaches for that. And if you met me 6.5 years ago when I first started doing this, you would have been like, girl needs a voice coach. So yeah, I've brought it down a lot, believe it or not. Anyways. So continuing on the audio bandwagon here. Now for my laptop, I actually got this thing called a Yeti microphone. This Yeti microphone is just this, yeah, it's this. But literally a microphone like this, and actually mine had a sock on it, so it looked like a condom. It was pretty cool. And it worked wonderfully. I plugged it right into the USB on my laptop, and I simply connected the Yeti microphone to the laptop, and it worked wonderfully. And then, you know, these laptops, if you have a Mac or if you're an Apple person, they have like Retina displays now. They even have like a nice little filter that goes on your face sometimes. Like, it just looks good, because I'll film it, and I'm like, oh, I don't look so good today. And then I'll rewatch it, and I'm like, oh, yes, I do. Like, I don't know what it does, but it does something great. So sometimes I definitely get back in front of the computer. Like, if you guys check out my YouTube channel, my video about what I order at Chipotle, I actually filmed on this laptop. Shh, sorry, Landon, I did that. Yeah, anyways. But when you want to film on your phone, for instance, they actually do have lavalier mics that you can simply connect into the little plug thing right here. And you can, you know, strap it right on your shirt or wherever you want. I wouldn't really recommend holding it because it looks kind of weird, so I would just clip it on your shirt. And then your audio, you would connect it on your audio. There's apps and stuff like that that you can use as well. And if you guys check out this website, I actually linked to one on Amazon, so you guys can check that out. But there's so many different options. If you guys have Androids, there are definitely options for you as well as out there. And again, if you guys have PC computers, I'm sure there is a Yeti microphone, and I'm sure there's USB connectors on PCs as well. I haven't used one in a very long time, so I'm not really sure. So yeah, so I would focus on audio, and don't get super overwhelmed with big, huge cameras, because you guys all have a camera in front of you right now, your cell phone. So you can start there, get a selfie stick, get a little prop-up situation, something like that, and just go for it. Just go for it. Now, before you go for it, actually, I highly recommend you do your research. So, yes, you have your niche. Yes, you're feeling more confident because you're like, cool, I can just use my phone. But before you do anything, you need to go on YouTube and you need to search, people within your niche and just watch a couple of their videos. See what they're doing. If you like what they're doing, be like, all right, I'll take note of that. That looks kind of nice. If you don't like what they're doing, definitely don't do that. But always put your own spin on it, because there's nothing people hate more than the same old thing over and over and over again. That's why I always say niche, guys, niche, because there's so many people doing fashion out there, but maybe you do like animal fashion. I don't know. I just thought of myself in like a giraffe onesie, and I was like, cool, animal fashion. Oh, and that brings me to my next topic, actually, clothing. Clothing. So for me, I'm really lucky because when I film my recipe videos, it's from the waist up. So from the waist down, I wear like booty shorts, my yoga pants, my PJs, nothing, I don't know. But from the waist up, I am ready to rock and roll. Sometimes I actually don't. Sometimes I just wear my robe because I just don't care, because I've created this brand for myself where people know I just do not give a crap about clothing. Now, I'm not gonna lie, how many times my husband Landon has told me, put on a cute dress, blah, 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 blah. I can't. I mean, yeah, obviously I'm wearing a dress right now, but it's kind of like a t-shirt, so who cares? I just don't feel comfortable in dresses, and the interesting thing is if you do not feel comfortable in what you're wearing, your whole demeanor changes. And you don't feel as confident and comfortable in the situation you're in or in front of the camera. So the only time I'll ever dress up in a really nice dress or something is if it is in theme with what I am creating or doing on camera. So, you have to dress appropriately for who you are and your niche, and also bright colors. Bright. I'm talking that pink right there. That yellow right there, on point. Love that color. Woo, it's great. So bright colors, not a lot of patterns because we don't want to take away from the main subject here, your face. The smiling face, by the way. So make sure that you have solid colors, and Target has wonderful t-shirts. They have nice little v-neck ones, and they have all the colors in the world. I buy every single one in a different color. It's like, whoa, she's got lots of clothes in her wardrobe. Not really, but that's okay. So I highly recommend, going to Target. There's so many different options where you can guys go. You guys might like clothes way more than I do, so you probably know more places than me. So yeah. But always make sure that you're wearing something you're comfortable in. That's the bottom line there. So again, we haven't quite gotten into the actual filming process yet because lighting is the next thing I want to talk about. Lighting is very, very important because it can really make or break whether you want to actually create this video ever again. Like, because you could film something and you watch it back and you're like, I look like I'm 80 years old and I can see every pore in my face and gross. So what I highly recommend is natural lighting. Natural. If you plan on doing a vlog where you're literally just sitting in front of the camera talking, I recommend sitting in front of a window. In front of that bright window so it comes in on your face, and guess what, ladies? No more baggies under your eyes. Seriously. It's like an Instagram filter without actually putting one on, which is amazing. Now, if you don't really have the ability to have a window, make yourself look younger, I just grab a light, take off the lamp shade, and then just keep positioning, put up your phone camera and keep positioning it so you can sort of figure out which angle is the best. It has less harsh shadows, no shadows at all, that sort of thing. Also, there are a lot of little lighting kits that you can buy on Amazon. I have linked to them in my blog post as well, so feel free to go check those out. And also, you guys can email me too, because as you guys might know, my husband's a director and he does all these things, so we can answer any questions that you guys might have in that regard as well. So again, I highly recommend, if you have the ability to have natural lighting, go for that. Whenever I film my videos, I've been very lucky in the respect that I've had kitchens where the lighting is pretty good in general, so I don't really ever have to have much lighting. Now, if I have my husband help me, he's like, ooh, I need this light and this light and this light, and I'm like, I didn't use any of this lighting in my last video, but now it looks even better. But, he just knows how to do that because that's his job. So natural lighting is key, but also if you want to, take it a step further, the lighting kits that I suggest on the website are on point. And then also, if you have more questions, we can answer those via email, no problem. The next thing is right before you're going to record. Now you're like, okay, where am I going to do this? In front of the natural lighting. Great, awesome, let's do this. But I highly recommend that you guys have a backdrop that isn't too busy. So, a plain white wall, blue wall, whatever color wall it is, just, nothing crazy. So like when I filmed this Chipotle video, I didn't really have any other option than sitting in front of this bookshelf that had all the alcohol in the world. So I'm pretty sure that everyone was looking at like, ooh, look at the alcohol selection she's got versus my, eating Chipotle. That being said, I just was like, I have no other option, so this is just how it's going to roll, plus my natural lighting is right there. So then, if that's the case, zoom in a little closer on yourself, make sure you're the focal point and no one's really looking at the crap behind you. They really want to see what you're talking about. So again, try and find a space where there isn't too much crazy business going on behind you. And also a quiet space. So for instance, if you guys have families, children, whomever, and they're going to run in on you every 5 seconds, Mom, what are you doing? Make sure that the space that you're in maybe has a locked door, something like that. And put a do not disturb sign. Maybe it's like a padded room so you can't really hear anyone pounding on the door. Mom, I need my Oreos. That sort of thing, and tell your significant other to take the kids to the zoo, something like that, when you want to do this. And having a set schedule of when you want to film also really helps your confidence levels, because you're like, cool, I'm gonna film this every Thursday at 3 p.m. No one's gonna get in the way. This is gonna happen. So like if you're, you know, for instance, sometimes when I don't have a set schedule, I get a little stressed out. I'm like, oh God, I gotta make a video for Tuesday, because I post every Tuesday, and I don't know when I'm gonna film this or what I'm gonna do. I'm like, blah, 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 like all that kind of stuff. But if you have a set filming schedule, it helps tremendously. So, that being said, it's now time to record your video. Aren't you excited? Don't you guys know what you're going to talk about now? Okay, so you're sitting in front of that window and you set up your camera and you're wearing your bright, bright colors that complement your skin tone perfectly, just saying. And then you have your outline and you're all mic'd up and you're ready to press record. But you got to make sure that that phone of yours and your audio recorder is 100% charged. Nothing is worse than going into, you know, sitting and filming and you're like, yeah, I'm ready to do this. And you're like, oh, I can't. Cool. So you got to make sure that everything is charged before you go. And if you don't, then, you know, you might lose a lot of motivation. And also, when I say fully charged, I also mean you. So for instance, when I do hosting jobs and when I film GiGi Eats Celebrities videos, I actually film GiGi Eats Celebrities videos around lunch. So I don't know, you guys should take note of this. If you ever watch one of my videos, my introduction is me when I have not eaten anything, because I don't eat breakfast, it's just not my thing. But I always make my recipes around lunchtime so I can eat them for lunch. Whoa. And so my introduction is usually me not eating anything, and I'm like, hi everybody, I'm starving. No, hi everybody, I'm GiGi of GiGi Eats Celebrities, and today I'm gonna make blah, 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 blah. Let's go for it. But that's me not charged. Now, when I'm done making the recipe, obviously I snacked on it, you know, that sort of thing. And then I come back on camera and I'm like, well, look at what I made, because I'm charged, because I ate something. So I highly recommend everyone eat just even a little snack, just to make sure that your brain is fully charged, because otherwise you could potentially slur your words, you could lose motivation because you're just exhausted, and I've definitely been there because I have sometimes not followed this you know, tip for myself, and I've made videos. In fact, I made this video, it was an amazing video, it got deleted unfortunately, but I made this amazing video, and then when it got deleted, I just lost all motivation because I was starving, and I was like, I'm done. Like, I just need to eat. I don't care about this video anymore. Ugh. And also, I filmed it on my laptop, so guess what? Shouldn't use the laptop. No. Anyways, so that being said, get a snack, and there are some snacks in the back, everybody. So you're gonna film videos after this, and you're gonna eat a snack before you do it. Done. So I told you guys that you gotta smile, and as I said, I made a huge bullet point here for smiling, because if you do not smile in your videos, you look like you hate what you're talking about, and it's not very attractive. No one's going to want to watch it because you're not happy about the topic. So it's just kind of like, why? And I'm not going to lie, I was filming a video the other day with my husband, and because he sometimes helps me, and it's amazing when he does, because the videos are like 20 times better. But that being said, whatever. So at one point he was like, can you smile, please? And I was like, oh, I didn't really realize I wasn't smiling because the camera was so far away, I couldn't really see myself and that sort of thing. And smiling makes a humongous difference. I'll say it 15 billion times over, because there are so many girls or guys who come to me for advice, help, or, you know, critiques on their videos, and they literally are sitting in front of their camera and they're like, hi everybody, I'm here to show you how to do a bench press today. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, do you not like what you do? Like, girl, you are in fitness competitions and you're not smiling? Like, I'm confused. So she's taken that advice to heart, and she's getting a lot better, and it's really all has to do with that smiling. So smile. Smile. Everyone, smile. And also, don't be hard on yourself. So you're filming now. You're into it. You're loving life. But guess what? You screwed up a sentence. You're like, let's make, oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, no. Ah. So remind yourself that nobody's perfect. And in fact, I love watching videos where people screw up and I see how they fix themselves. Because I was the type of person when I first started hosting and my YouTube channel and stuff like that, where I would get hard on myself. I would be reading copy, because it's called copy when you actually do like host jobs, and you're like, doo-doo-doo-doo, and then I would be like, woo, you're done, and then I'd screw up all my words. I'm like, oh man, I totally screwed it up, that, and then I'd beat myself up. That gets you nowhere. So now what I do, there's 2 ways that you can tackle this. Number 1 is you could literally just go with the flow and be like, whoops, I lost my place, woo, back to regular scheduled programming, and then go for it again. Or you can pause, and this takes a little bit more because this takes some editing, because I have jump cuts in all my videos. I love jump cuts, so like that's just me. So I'll talk, I'll screw up a word, and then I'll just pause, recollect myself, literally do not move, and then I'll start talking again, and I'll talk about what I wanted to say. Thus, in post, in editing, I will cut out that little space, I'll cut off my little flub, put it together, and it's pretty seamless. I mean, someone who's like literally watching your video like might notice something, or you can put a nice little transition in there if you guys know how to do that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Otherwise, it's pretty seamless and it works like a charm. So those are the 2 ways that I would recommend that you guys tackle it. Personally, I think it's kind of fun when you're like, woo, anyways, back to here what I was talking about. But again, do however you'd like. If you want less editing, then go the first approach. But I don't want anyone to ever be down on themselves or get annoyed or frustrated, because that negativity will make you never want to make a video ever again, ever. So you just got to be like, everybody's, you know, human, nobody's perfect. Let's just keep going, because I love what I'm talking about, because that niche I picked is so me. Haha. So. So I hope you guys are following along, and don't worry, we'll have some questions at the end if you guys have any, but hopefully I just, you know, sweep you off your feet and you're all good. So now that you've finished your video, you're like, whoa, I actually filmed this video, this is incredible, oh my God, look at me, I'm a star. You gotta play it back. I understand that, you know, a lot of you are like, no shit, of course we're gonna play it back. But some people don't. Some people just don't watch what they did. They just are like, okay, that was good. I know it was good. Let's upload it. We're done. But playing it back is actually a great educational tool. When I first started hosting, I was always told, re-watch your videos. Re-watch it, because you do not really know in the moment what your mannerisms are. A lot of you could say every other word. I know what I say is, I actually wrote it down here because sometimes I forget, which is funny because it's a mannerism. And I'm like, when I film my cooking videos, I rewatch myself when I'm editing. I'm like, oh my God, I said that like 8,000 times. How can I cut it out? And I try to cut it out, but it just sounds weird. And I'm like, well, I guess everyone's gonna, you know, hear me say this, what is it? That being said, I say that all the time, all the time. I'm like, okay, sounds great, like once, stop, Gigi, stop. So sometimes when I actually catch myself during the filming process actually saying that, I'm like, nope, rewind. What are you going to say to, what are you going to say instead of that? Because that's annoying and you've said it 18,000 times. So watching yourself after you filmed your video is so good, because number 1, you can look at the lighting, you can look at your makeup, you can look at your clothing options, you can look at your hair, you can look at your everything and see what you like and what you don't like. And in fact, I would even recommend doing a practice video, something you didn't even think that you were going to post, just to see if you like everything that you did. And if you did, all right, well, cool. You can either film that video that day that you want to post, or you know, take your outfit off and be like, okay, this is going to happen tomorrow now, you know, something like that, because sometimes I do that. So yeah, watching yourself back is really, really important. Take notes. Have someone else watch with you. I mean, that's something that would actually be very beneficial for a lot of people, because then they can, you know, critique for you. Because sometimes we're like, oh, we're perfect. I am so good. But other people might see something that you don't see. And by the way, when you do film and you still feel uncomfortable in front of the camera, something I would recommend is, you know, invite friends over. Because you're like, you want to have a conversation with the camera. You don't want to be, hi everybody, I am here to discuss blah, 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 and I'm also a robot. Did you not know that? So having friends come over or even like honestly printing out or taking a photo of a friend or a family member and literally putting it next to your camera when you're filming really helps some people. You might be distracted and be like, hey mom, so about that. And then you're like, oh wait, no, I'm still talking to the camera, my bad. But it really, really, really helps a lot of people because it helps you realize that the cameras shouldn't be intimidating. It's literally, you're talking to your fan base. You're talking to those who follow you, who are interested in what you're talking about. So why should you feel judged by any of them, you know? And honest to God, if people don't like your content, well, they just won't watch it. It doesn't matter. Like, the interesting thing about my blog and my YouTube channel and stuff like that is, you know, I'm sure I have haters, but they never really comment on anything because if they don't like it, they just move on to the next thing. And even if I did have haters that I actually knew about, I don't care. So that's another motto you should adopt. Who gives an F, everybody? Who gives an F? So, yeah. But again, people who are watching you typically want to hear what you're talking about. So it's always good to watch yourself back to make sure that the mannerisms that you do have are not super annoying. And then you can work on them, because that's something like that you're going to have to continually do for the rest of your life, because we always come up with new mannerisms. And yeah, like for instance, I'm sure you guys have seen something that I'm doing right now that you're like, oh, she keeps holding her hands like this. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know where else to put them. But again, that is something that my hosting coaches have taught me too, because you know, you're standing out there and you're like, hi, what do I do with these? Do I put them here? No. Do I put them here? Yeah, maybe. You know, something like that. But you just kind of have to figure out what works for you. And I like to talk with my hands though too. But again, don't be like, I'm talking with my hands, you know, because that's kind of weird. But again, I mean, if that's your brand and if that's what you want to do on camera, by all means, go for it. But own it. Own that situation. Because like, for instance, when you create a brand and a niche for yourself, and like, for instance, for me, like, I hate fashion, I hate makeup, I hate all of that crap. So, and people know this, like that, I wear my Adidas sandals with everything. Like when I go to, you know, black tie events, I'm like, guess what, Adidas. And sometimes people like actually get shocked if I'm not wearing them, which is great, because I'm like, cool, no one like expects me to wear something super fancy, because I'm not going to. And that's just who I am, and it's great. So hopefully when you start making a lot more videos, you'll create a brand around yourself where people just know you for that thing and no one expects, you know, anything else. And like, for instance, another thing too is I've always told everybody that I hate children, but now I'm pregnant, whoa! And it's, and it's like, that was like a shocking thing, but I don't plan on, you know, making that like part of the sole focus kind of thing, because guess what? Children still terrify me, so yeah. Yippee! Anyways. Okay, so your video's done, you rewatched it, you're like, I'm pretty confident with what I just did. That was pretty sick. I did a good job. So, because you listened to all of my tips, everybody. So now you're like, what do I do with this video? Because it does need a little bit of editing. I do want to brighten it up a little bit. I do want to do, you know, that kind of thing. Because in post, you can actually brighten it up some if you do, in fact, bring it into an editing software. So for instance, sometimes my videos are not quite the color I want, so I get to change the color, and then I get to pop it, and then like the under eye bags go away even more, and I'm like, dude, this is awesome makeup. We're good. Don't need to go to Sephora. So there are a couple editing systems that I use. Now, unfortunately, this is not like an editing talk right now, so I'm not going to be able to like show you how to do it, and I actually learned it in journalism school, thank goodness. The one editing system that I learned was Final Cut Pro. The one I use now actually is Premiere Pro, because Final Cut changed and I don't want to use their new one because it looks like iMovie, and iMovie I'm not a fan of. However, if you guys are a fan of iMovie, by all means, that's another editing system that you guys could use as well. And there's also another one called Avid. And then there are a lot of different editing systems you guys could use on your phone too. There's a lot of apps, but I have really fat fingers, so like when I try and do that, it just does not work for me. So I go to the computer and get on there. That being said, it can be a learning curve, so I would highly recommend that you YouTube videos about how to edit. Maybe find classes to take if you guys want to get serious about making videos. Or go to a website called lynda.com. It's a subscription-based website, but she has tons of educational videos and documents and all that sort of thing that educate you on how to use these editing platforms. Now also, if you guys have questions about them at all, you can email me and I can help you in any way that I can. But again, I learned my editing from college. However, I actually self-taught myself Premiere Pro because I had to. There's no other option. So, and honest to God, I actually like it better. It has more knickknacks and doodahs than Final Cut. What? Anyways, and I believe that you can have those platforms on both PC and Mac, so you're covered across the board. So, once you guys edit that video, you're like, oh my God, this video is literally the best thing ever. It's gonna go viral. Holy crap, but like, how do I make it go viral? I'm really confused. Where do I put this in order for it to go that direction, if you will? Well, as you guys know, my platform is YouTube. However, there are 1 billion and 10 platforms out there. When I first started doing all this stuff, it was really just YouTube because Instagram didn't even exist when I first started this, which is kind of crazy to think about. But now there's Instagram and it's got, you know, your hour-long TV, blah, 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 which I really don't want to use, but like I'll probably fall into it. And Insta Stories. Insta Stories, by the way, are a great way for you to practice to be on camera and just be yourself and just go for it. Whenever I make Insta Stories, I literally just go for it. If I flub up, I don't care. I still post it because I legitimately do not care. If I really want to redo it, I'll post it and I'll just make another one right after and post that too. People are like, why did I just watch that twice? Because I screwed up, duh. Anyways, so use that as a great way to, you know, first of all, get comfortable in front of the camera. Secondly, engage with your audience. And you could even put polls out there or ask people what they would want to hear you talk about. So that would be really helpful for you if, you know, for instance, you don't really know what niche you want to talk about. Your audience could help you figure that out for sure. So I upload my videos to YouTube. Now, you can always do Facebook videos if you'd like. You can do Instagram videos. You can upload them to Vimeo if you want to be a little bit more like fancy pants. But I personally don't use Vimeo, and I don't feel like it's that great of a sharing platform. I feel like it's more for a portfolio type of video. So if you had like something edited together and it was, quote, a reel of some sort, I feel like that's a little bit more professional if you were wanting to submit this video to a future employer or something like that. And then, you know, another thing too is you could always do Facebook Live videos, which honestly might even be the easiest for all of you because number one, you can use your computer, you can use your phone. Number two, there's no editing involved, so it's all live. And all of these tips and tricks can be very, very, very helpful in that regard too, because, you know, you still need to think about your lighting and your clothing and your makeup and your blah, 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 blah. So everything that I just said really applies to live videos. And personally, I love live videos because I don't have to edit. Because sometimes editing can be really annoying. But I actually prefer editing. I really, really do love editing, but sometimes I'm just like, I don't have time for this. So if you feel like you just want to make this video and post it immediately, then the Facebook Live is the way to go. My only concern with Facebook, though, is sometimes if you have specific privacy preferences, you can't really share that video with everybody, so you won't, quote, potentially get viral if you are only sharing with friends of friends or something like that, which is why I love YouTube, because you could literally post it everywhere. And that's what I want to talk about now, is where to post this video, because you're like, oh my God, this video is great. Oh look, oh my God, it got like 5 views, but wait, oh, those were all my views. Okay. So like, who else is gonna watch this? What do I do? Well, I'm pretty sure you guys have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, blah, 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 the whole shebang. So I highly recommend that you post it everywhere. Embed it on your blog, that's what I do. And join Facebook groups, join Google communities, join Pinterest groups. There's literally so many communities and groups that you guys can join that are like-minded, but also don't sound spammy. or don't look spammy by just posting it and leaving kind of thing. You really have to, you know, strategically do this. But I highly recommend that you get into those kinds of groups. I mean, I remember when I first started my blog, I joined Sweatpink, and I also joined something called Fitfluential, and like those were the two places that I really was able to grow my brand because like-minded individuals, and I did my due diligence, everybody, which is what I want to tell all of you. Do your due diligence, go to their websites, go to their videos, go to their Instagram, Twitter, and Facebooks, and blah, blah, blah. Interact with them, so guess what? They know who you are and what you're about. I have made some of my best friends blogging. Some of my best friends. In fact, 4 of my bridesmaids who I've only met 3 times were bridesmaids. They were from blogging. They were from blogging. It was incredible. And like, we text every day, we make Instagram videos. In fact, I know a lot of you in this audience, which is pretty great. And so I highly recommend that you really get out there and comment on other people's blogs. And the great thing about blogging and YouTubing and stuff like that is it's sort of like a dating for friends. Because you can really weed people out quickly. Like, for instance, I'm not really into, as I said, fashion and stuff like that. So I would never go to their websites or blogs, unless it was maybe like Athleta clothing, because I do like that stuff. So I would definitely follow along with that and be friends with those people, because, you know, we can go shopping. But otherwise, like, you know, you can really weed out the people that you don't necessarily think you'd connect with. And then, you know, potentially they could live in the same sort of city that you live in or close by, or even if they don't, like, with social media and the internet and all that sort of accessibility, like, you have no problem making friends, and it's not weird these days to, you know, talk to someone who's 3,000 miles away. So yeah, that's kind of, you know, my whole shebang here. That's how I would, you know, how I want to let you guys know how to get as comfortable in front of the camera. Hopefully those tips really helped. Now, if you guys have any questions, I'd love to take them. But you probably don't, because I just talked for like 1 billion hours. I don't even know what time it is, so it could be like, ooh, we only talked for 10 minutes. So now what do I want to do here? No, but again, if you guys have any questions, do feel free to raise your hand. Let me know. In terms of, you know, camera equipment and stuff like that, if you have questions about that, my husband has no problem coming up on stage and talking about that, because that is his shebang. So yeah, let me know. Yes? It's an interesting 50-50. So sometimes when my video I feel is like the best thing ever, I will draw pins to that. But what I have done for myself is people come to my blog versus my YouTube channel. I have always promoted my blog 110% because I love to write. Like, the blog is the full package. The blog is where you truly are, because not only do you have written content, but you also have your video, and then you also have your about and blah, blah, blah. So people really can see a sense of who you are. So typically I'll create, you know, a Pinterest-rich pin, if you will, that doesn't have the video embedded, but it has all photos and screenshots and all that sort of thing of exactly what I'm talking about. So that's typically what I do, but once in a while, for instance, when my husband and I do little videos together, I will pin those videos on Pinterest, because those are harder to make little Pinterest-rich pins, if you will. So. Yeah. The ones that you do quite directly on, do you just like pin the video? You can. Shot of the video, or do you create like a pin? Actually, I pin the video itself, because you can watch the video on Pinterest, and then you just caption it the way that you would, you know, even a mini blog post, because I have read that, for instance, when you upload pins to your blog, always write descriptions, long blog post descriptions in that subtext or whatever it's called in there. If I had my blog up, I'd let you know exactly what it's called. But always write, you know, long, detailed whatever, because Pinterest sees that as like a blog post, and you know, do a lot of hashtags and stuff. So you know, it's searchable and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Anybody else have questions? Oh yeah, So when you look at everything you have out there right now, Do you mean like through my content or in general? Yeah. For me, it's more controversial topics. So one time I did, well, actually, or topics about myself. So there's this one blog post and video that I did where I told a brand to go F itself. And of course, everyone was like, oh, we need to know about this situation. But the thing, because I want to know. But the thing is, you know, I'm a very real and open and honest person, and I also get a little vulgar on my blog and a little like, woo, sexual. But that's just, it's sexual innuendos, that's just who I am as a person. With this blog post, it was very real, raw, honest, ridiculous, and just said it like it was. I totally threw this brand, I never mentioned what the brand was, but I threw them under the bus, and I was like, yeah, F you, bye-bye. Another one was, I don't know if you guys know who the Food Babe is, and yeah, I'm totally gonna say her name. I totally told her to go F herself too, and people really loved that kind of blog too. A lot of the other content, yeah, I'm glad you guys can go read that one. Awesome. So other content that people generally really like actually is me torturing my husband by making him eat healthy food. So he'll come on camera and he'll taste test things, and people just love that. I think it's more because people like to see the relationship that we have and us poking fun at one another, because it's very relatable and open and honest and stuff. So that's what I see. But honestly, I feel like it's more controversial topics, more discussion-based topics, that sort of thing. My recipe videos do great, but it's more when there's, you know, someone else on camera with me having a conversation, or when I'm ripping into something because I'm ranting. So yeah. Yeah. How I generate an income? Oh, it's through brand sponsorships. So for instance, that one brand that I told to go F himself, they were actually going to pay me, and then I told them to take that money and shove it up, because I didn't want to, because they were telling me to do specific things that I was not okay with, because they didn't do the research in regards to who I am as a person and how I create content and what I do and say and all that sort of thing. And when they saw my video, they're like, oh my God, you need to take that down. And in fact, you need to take down the blog post, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you know, no, this is your fault, because you did not research who I am as a person. So I'm going to stand behind who I am, because I will never change for anybody, just like you guys should never change for anybody else. Thank you. And I will 110% just not take your payment, and I will keep my content up. So it's through sponsorships, and the way that I do that, and I've actually spoke about this before, but I reach out to them, or they reach out to me. Since I've been doing it for so long, my blog seems to be, you know, traveling around the interwebs, if you will, and brands will reach out to me because they're interested and they see my content because they Googled who I was, exactly what the people at E told me to do back, you know, 6.5 years ago. Because getting your name out there and, you know, SEO optimization, if you will, I still don't really know how to do that, but as long as you know, continually write your name everywhere and stuff like that, then more people will see you. And Instagram is a great avenue as well, because when you tag brands in your photos, they'll notice. And if you continue to tag them, they'll notice. Then you can go and DM them and be like, hey, I love your brand. I would love to see if you would love to partner in any sort of fashion. Let's discuss this further. I'm sorry, that went away. Hopefully it comes back, but it might not. Oh, yay. I don't know what that stuff is, but yeah, okay, good. So Instagram is a great platform. You know, another way, just cold email. And I have something on my Gmail called Gmail Tracker, so I can actually see when brands read my emails. You know, a lot of people like get really annoyed by that, because they're like, oh my God, like, why didn't they respond to me? Oh my God. But I actually just like that the email was seen. So I'm like, okay, good, it wasn't like undelivered sort of thing. So I highly recommend downloading that on your Gmail if you have Gmail. But cold emailing is initially what I did, and it works. It takes a lot of effort. And sometimes brands are like, oh, we don't have a budget. And it's like, guess what? Everybody has an advertising budget, but whatever. But, you know, you're going to get a lot of rejection, and I definitely have. But then there are those brands that actually really do believe in who you are and what you're doing, and you have to sell yourself like I literally can give you so much X, Y, and Z, Q, R, and S that nobody else can. I am the shit, you know, that kind of thing. You really just have to promote yourself without, you know, obviously showcasing a huge ego, because that's not attractive either. But if you have more questions about that, feel free to email me, because I could chat all day about that. Oh, yes?
Okay, so I want to ask you some things with the YouTube, like not necessarily editing, but adding in things like features on the videos. Do you think that that works best, or should you just talk to the camera natural, or should you add? When I watch YouTube, sometimes I'll see people like linking things that'll.
I think that's distracting. I think what you want to do, if you want to link to things, link at the end of your video or do it in the description below.
That's the other thing I was going to ask. With YouTube, I honestly don't use YouTube.
Yeah.
I think I've uploaded one thing and it was like a 20-second video.
Guess what? You're going to do it after this talk.
But when they all say like linking everything, so hashtags and everything work in there?
Hashtags haven't really caught on in the YouTube space. However, linking is 110% fine as long as you do http:// situation. And then the first 3 or 4 links you will actually see before it says to expand. So always link your blog or whatever is your most important website as the first one. In YouTube, you can actually create a template, so then it always is linked in there every single time you upload a video.
Can it just let you do that right on YouTube?
Yes. Yeah, it's in your creator panel, if you will. But again, put your most important website at the top, even before any of your text or anything like that. And writing a long, detailed post in your YouTube videos works really well too for SEO. And always write the title of your video in the body as well, and then also tag it. Because when you upload videos, you have a lot of tags that you can put in there too. And another great tool is if your topic is, for instance, the best shampoo on the face of the planet, start typing in the shampoo in the search engine and see what suggestions come up, because those are the most popular suggestions. Thus, you can put that in your tags. So when people are searching for those things, which a lot more people search for those things, they'll more than likely find your video too. Yeah. Yeah? Insta stories, 110%. I love Insta stories. I'm obsessed. I can't stop, won't stop kind of thing. But Instagram is the best because people can respond to you right away if you guys want them to, because you can always turn off comments. But I personally think Instagram is my favorite. To be completely honest, if Instagram was alive back when I first started, I don't even know that I would have started YouTube. I would have just done Instagram. And now that it's come so far, it's almost like since Instagram TV is here, it's like, oh, you don't even need YouTube. I'm like, that's why I'm so confused. I'm like, where do I put this video to put it on Instagram TV? Or blah, 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 blah. It's just ridiculous. But Instagram is the best in my personal opinion. I don't really do Facebook Live videos unless it's for a sponsorship, because brands will ask me to go on their page and do a cooking video or something like that. So, yeah. Yeah, on location shooting, and my husband could be really good at this too because he is always on location. But number one is if you're going to use your phone, I highly recommend that you get some sort of phone stand, like a phone tripod. And again, you can find all of these things on Amazon, no problem. And then getting that little lavalier mic to plug into your phone. And the lavalier mic, well, I'm wearing a lavalier mic right now, actually. This would be your phone right here. This would be connected into your phone, and then you would put it through your shirt and connect it right behind your shirt right here. So you can connect it either with a clip if it comes with a clip, or I have tape on right now. So, and that helps your audio, and then you can download the specific app for that piece of equipment, and you can connect the audio through that, and then you'll have perfect lavalier audio for your outside on-location shooting. So for instance, if you're in a really busy location, this lavalier mic will help you tremendously because it'll be right at your mouth versus all of these people talking. And then lighting's a little more difficult, and on location, if you have someone to help you, than, you know, bringing a couple lights that you might potentially find on Amazon or something and having them help you set it up to make sure that there's, you know, the best lighting on you is great. Otherwise, I would find a spot within the location that has the best lighting. And just, you know, obviously people know you're on location, they know you're human, and they like to see real, honest, and, you know, honest and open people that, you know, are real. So they'll understand if the lighting is not 100% perfect. Now, if you want this for like a very professional video, then I would definitely recommend that you have someone come to help you on location. Yeah. Yes? It really depends. Honest to God, I need people who actually know how to do Facebook ads to do them for me. I've tried in the past, and there's just so many overwhelming options that, you know, I got like 10 clicks to my website because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But there are so many people out there who know how to do it so very well, and they get monster traffic from their Facebook ads. That being said, my most traffic source is actually Facebook, and it's due to me being in a bunch of communities and groups and interacting with a lot of people and sharing my content there. So I would start with the groups first, and then if you still feel like you're not getting that much traffic, you could try the paid ad approach. But I would definitely do research on as to how to really utilize that sector on Facebook. Yes? The earbuds? Is that like on Skype? Because when I use my phone, I actually never put in earbuds because actually on my new phone, it only lets you do one thing. Yeah, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. And that's great, but if you want to have your earphones in the shot with you. So if you want it to look a little bit more professional or whatever, just the lav mic is, you know, excuse me, it's not super expensive and it looks good. But if you want to have earbuds, that's fine. That's your style. Anyone else have any questions? Yes?
What kind of lens do you use on your camera when you're filming? Like, what's the best?
A lens like when I'm filming on that bad boy right there?
Yeah, or I just have a Canon 80D, but like I have the basic lens. But what's the best lens when you're like doing a sit down?
Landon, what's the best lens when you're doing a sit down, you know, vlog type of situation, and she's got a Canon 80D? He's so excited.
Okay, just a little more.
Now he's got to bring this all the way up here.
So when it comes to lenses, if you're just talking about point and shoot cameras like Canon, Sony, things like that, before you really get into an interesting conversation about lenses, get good audio. Nothing will throw you out of a video quicker than bad audio. You can forgive bad lighting somewhat, and she made a really good point. Never use overhead lighting. You'll get under eye bags, you'll get weird nose shadows, and your noses aren't that big, so give yourself all of the credit you can, and absolutely use light that's hitting your face, never light from above. The first thing that I do when I'm filming her, when she's like, okay, the shot's all set up, I'm good to go. First thing I do is I turn off all the lights that she thinks that she set up, because they're all overhead. And then I, you know, use the lights that she's talking about. Direct sunlight is the absolute best. But as far as lenses, it all really depends on budget. And that's kind of all that filmmaking is what's your budget. You know, when I'm directing commercials, the first conversation that I have with anybody is, what's your budget? And then I'll know what we can use. So with that all out of the way, I'll actually answer your question, unlike being a politician. Canon makes a really good L-series lens. It's called the USM. And they make a USM 1, which is their previous generation. It's still a really good lens. You can get it's better to have the biggest aperture that you can. So you want, you know, they make a 16 to 70. So that's a really, really wide angle to, you know, averagely close, enough to get a really tight shot at about 15 feet. If you want to spend a little bit more money, you can use a USM2 lens. And then, if you want to get really, really, really fancy and have an amazing shot, you can use what's called a prime lens. So the focal length would just be 16, or just 24, or just 35, or just 70, all the way up to, you know, I've directed commercials where I've used a prime lens that was a 400 millimeter lens, and it's just 400, and it's this big, and this rim. I mean, it's crazy. The lenses are $150,000, so probably don't want to do that. But a nice USM lens, like a yeah, right, a USM, just a general one, a really good workhorse lens is a Canon L series USM lens, 24 to 70. That's kind of like your wheelhouse of the focal length that you'll kind of live, all your videos will live in that focal length. Back to my wife.
Oh wait, for an iPhone, you can add lenses to, honestly, my sister got me a lens kit once and I was just like, I don't care about this. I think, honestly, the lens on your camera is perfectly acceptable. Are we done? We are done, everybody. It's 10:25.